What is up, noobs and noobettes? Charles or Atingleee here, and welcome to episode 2 of Getting Better at COD, man. This is a series where I take you from a below average player and make you a great player. Today's video is going to be winning more gunfights. This is really important, guys, and is definitely one of the building blocks to you becoming a great player. So hopefully all these tips I'm about to share with you will help you out a lot. They definitely help me, and they are definitely some of the big reasons why I can consistently do well in Call of Duty. So let's get straight into that shit. Okay, so how do you win more gunfights? Well, firstly, you want to make sure that you're always prepared to get into a gunfight. Even if you're coming off spawn, you want to make sure that you're ready to start shooting at someone as soon as they pop up on your screen. Next, you want to minimize the amount of bullets that you're missing in a gunfight. The more bullets that you're missing, the less the chance that you're going to win that gunfight, and 1 or 2 bullets can cost you your life. And lastly, you want to make sure that you're not just being caught out in the open. You always want to either be in an advantageous position or have a level playing field with the enemy, as this will increase your chances of winning that gunfight and reduce the chances of you dying every time. So basically, I'm going to be splitting this video into 3 parts. The first part will be focusing on how to improve your chances on getting the first shot on the enemy in the gunfight, as this will greatly increase your chances of winning it. It will not only cause them flinch, but it will also mean that you require less bullets to kill. Then after that, it's going to be focusing on how to constantly keep your aim on target, or at least minimize the amount of bullets that you're missing. And then lastly is going to be focusing on moving from cover to cover, making sure you're not finding yourself in sticky situations and always trying to put yourself into advantageous positions. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's get it started with getting the first shot on target in a gunfight. As I mentioned, this is going to give you a big advantage, and you definitely want to take note, guys. So firstly, you want to be pre-aiming. Basically, this means you aim down sight before you turn a corner. And although it doesn't take that long to aim down sight, you can shoot 1, 2, even 3 bullets in that time. So this will definitely give you a big advantage in the gunfight. I usually pre-aim when I'm approaching a high traffic area, as this allows me to be more prepared for that gunfight. And it usually does result in me winning that gunfight if the enemy isn't as prepared. Obviously, it's impractical to pre-aim every single corner that you turn, guys, and you definitely don't want to be doing this. Do it when it's a high traffic area, or if you have a really good hunch that there's an enemy nearby. Just walk out, pre-aim, and pick off that motherfucker. Okay, so next up we have pre-firing. This can be used both offensively and defensively, and it basically involves you shooting before you even see the enemy. For example, say you're running down this hallway and right before you turn the corner, someone makes you really red. You probably won't have enough time to run down the rest of this hall and get to cover, so you want to make a defensive stand and just basically start spraying, hoping to God they just run out into your bullets. If they do, then you'll give yourself a chance to win that gunfight. If not, then you'll be able to turn around and run away and hopefully get away from that gunfight. Alternatively, if you're the person doing the shooting and you've made someone really weak, you want to make sure you're being aggressive and quickly trying to finish them off. Although if you only tag 1 bullet on the enemy, this usually isn't enough to guarantee you a win in the gunfight. So it's going to be hard because you're not exactly sure where they've ended up after they've turned the corner. So if you've only tagged 1 bullet, be very careful about being aggressive. The great thing about pre-firing is that it can give you hope when all hope has been lost. Say someone's being really aggressive and attacking you and you're trying to run away. You can't really do much, so all you have to do is just pre-fire that motherfucker and hope for the best. On the other hand, say you're very sure that there's someone around the corner, you want to jump out pre-firing regardless, as this will mean you're going to get that first shot on target, and as I mentioned, guys, that'll give you a big advantage. Next up, you want to make sure you're centering your aim. This basically means you're aiming your gun in the direction an enemy is most likely to be next. And what this will mean for you is that you have to move your aim less overall in order to get your aim on target. And this will basically reduce the overall time it'll take for you to get that first shot on target, and again, improve your chances of winning that gunfight overall. And lastly, and I mentioned this in the previous video, but you don't want to wait until you're aiming down sight at someone to start shooting. You want to shoot and aim down sight at the same time, as one of the stray bullets from your hipfire might hit the enemy and you might get that extra shot on target, and it'll give you a big advantage in that gunfight. So whenever you see an enemy, make sure you're shooting and aiming at the same time, as opposed to waiting till you're aiming on the enemy to start shooting. Let's move on to how to avoid missing shots in gunfights. So obviously having a good aim in Call of Duty is very important, and you want to make sure that your aim is as crisp as possible. If you haven't already watched my aim and reactions tutorial, make sure you check it out. I have an annotation on the screen right now. But yeah, guys, you definitely want to make sure you're always practicing improving your aim. I would highly recommend hopping into a game for 5 to 10 minutes with bots every day and just running around and getting used to your aim better, man. Also, you need to make sure you're dropping the ego, guys. Having a slower sensitivity but being more accurate is way better than having a fast sensitivity and not being as accurate. If you're getting into gunfights and your aim is all shaky like this, then that is definitely a big sign for you that you need to lower your sensitivity. Take me for example, I play on 5.5. This is a pretty low sensitivity, man, but you guys see me tear that ass up on a regular basis. It all comes down to being accurate and being able to direct your aim where you need it to be, as opposed to being able to turn quickly and react quickly. And lastly, you need to remember that this isn't boots on the ground anymore, guys, so you want to make sure that your aim is precise when you're sliding, also when you're jumping, and then lastly when you're wall running. Making sure your aim is crisp at all times will again reduce the amount of bullets that you're missing in gunfights, and this will again increase your chances greatly. And now let's move on to the final thing, and that is being a difficult target. You obviously want to be as hard of a target as possible to kill, guys. You want to be the biggest nuisance possible, and you pretty much want to piss the enemy off, because at the end of the day, Call of Duty is a mind game, so this is going to give you a big advantage. Firstly, you want to make sure you're using cover wisely, guys. You don't just want to run around like a headless chicken in the middle of nowhere. For example, if you know there's a few snipers around this corner, you don't just want to run around out of nowhere and start shooting at them. Use the cover that's provided to you. Use it as your way of checking to make sure the coast is clear before you start killing people. And if it isn't, then you can just quickly dip out. For example, if you just run all the way out here, you're pretty much a sitting duck, and they'll have more of your body to hit, and it'll make it a lot easier for them to kill you. So again, make sure you're moving from cover to cover. Make sure you're being wise with how you traverse the map, and make sure you minimize the amount of time that you're caught out in the open. Building off this, you want to make sure you're always hugging the walls, guys. Running in the middle of this hallway like this just means that the enemy that's camping here is going to see you sooner. Whereas if you're really hugging this wall as tightly as you can, then it's going to minimize the overall time that they can see you. It'll buy you more time to gather your thoughts, and it'll also allow you to pretty much be sneaky and just take people off guard. And so you definitely want to make sure you're hugging walls at all times, guys. Avoid running in the middle of nowhere, as more people will be able to see you and you'll just be more of an easy target to kill. And the next thing I wanted to cover was head glitches. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about head glitches, and the reason they're called this is basically to you, you're able to see very clearly, whereas depending on the head glitch, sometimes only half your head will be showing, but for some reason you're able to still shoot enemies. It's almost as if your character's holding his weapon at his forehead. So yeah, definitely use objects like this that are pretty tall to your advantage. This will reduce the amount of your body that the enemy can see, and it'll just make you a much harder target to hit. But you also do need to remember, guys, you're not invincible on this thing. If you're having a gunfight with someone and they're tagging you and making you red, don't just stick around there like you're invincible and you're going to kill them for sure. Dip out of that bitch. You should always use a head glitch just to give yourself an advantage, but you also need to remember that you're not invincible. I just want to mention a few small things you guys could use to make yourself a difficult target. So if you're in a medium to long range gunfight, or even a short range gunfight, to be honest, you don't just want to be standing still like this shooting at the enemy. You want to make sure you're strafing, if not side to side, then at least to one side or to the other side. It's always harder to hit a moving target, guys, so making sure you're staying on the move will just make it harder for your enemy to hit those shots, and it'll buy you some more time to finish them off. Next up, you want to make sure you're staying on the move, guys. You don't want to stick to one area for too long, because you'll basically be overstaying your welcome and you'll have too many people that are coming after you. You want to make sure that you're always moving from location to location. Whenever you get a kill, you want to make sure you're changing location and keeping the enemy guessing as much as possible. Speaking about keeping them guessing, you definitely want to play in a way where you're as unpredictable as possible, guys. Being a nuisance and being a difficult target will give you a big advantage. It'll allow you to escape dangerous areas, it'll allow you to catch people off guard and get free kills, and it'll just give you advantages in gunfights in general. For example, if someone's chasing you here around this corner, they're going to expect you to go down there or go up there. What I like to do is wall run on this wall and then wall run right back and then just fuck them up. Just little things like this, guys, will give you a big advantage. There's nothing worse than someone that is a nuisance, and I'm definitely that guy. I pride myself on the fact that most of the gunfights I win are not because I'm the better player in terms of my aim and my reactions, but more so because I'm outsmarting the person and basically doing the thing that they'll least expect and pretty much just catching them off guard, man. In summary, guys, in order to win more gunfights, you need to first make sure you're doing your best to get that first shot on target in a gunfight. You need to make sure you're missing as little bullets as possible when you're getting into gunfights, and you also need to make sure you're a very difficult target. And that's pretty much it, guys. I did my best to think of as many tips as possible for winning more gunfights. I'm sure I'm going to think of some more shit when I'm editing this video and completely hate myself, but what can you do? Shit happens. These videos usually take longer than other videos to make, so hopefully you guys did appreciate this. If you did find it useful in any way, be sure to hit that like. Also, if you're new to this channel and you're trying to become a better Call of Duty player, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot of tip videos coming out very soon, so there's definitely something to look forward to. If there was anything in the video that you guys were unsure about, be sure to drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to clarify some things. Also, if you have any questions about anything else, or if you just want to give some feedback, be sure to drop a comment down below. The next video is going to be focusing on controlling gunfights. I'm going to have a snippet going for you guys now. As you can see, I have full control over this gunfight. This guy has no chance of finishing me off, and I'm going to teach you guys some little tricks you can do to make sure you're able to have advantage like this in gunfights. So definitely something to look forward to, guys. But that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. I'm definitely very out of breath. And yeah, man, I need to go and take a breather and also edit this video. So again, if you found this useful, be sure to drop a like. Also leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'll catch you all in the next video. Until next time. Peace out, noobs.